So I just want to start today by looking at some of your turned in challenges. And I want you guys to see sort of the level of immediate improvement that's occurring here in a real time. So this is one student's turned in file for challenge one, the claw challenge. Look at the first claw. Okay, so this is the first claw that the student drew. Look at the second claw. This one was hard. This one was a hard claw to draw. I know from personal experience. And look at the drastic improvement in terms of like illustration quality and technical skill from just the first lobster claw, to the second scorpion claw, to the third claw of, I don't know what this is, but look at how amazing this third claw is. And also to even the scorpion claw is amazing. Look at the drastic improvement from just practicing drawing claws 1 to 2 to 3. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing, the improvement? And this is what I was getting to with the 42 stuffs video. If you just draw things over and over and over again, you get better and better and better at drawing those things. And this is proof of that is actually happening in this class right now. Okay, so here's another one which I think has been successful, and you're seeing also the drastic improvement from 1 to 2 to 3. In my opinion, you're seeing drastic significant improvement from 1 to 2 to 3. Okay, so this is a great work, but I do want to point out some newbie mistakes that are being made in this assignment, because I pointed them out in the taxonomy of newbie mistakes video. So in this student's drawing, let me zoom in a little bit closer here. They made a choice early on to draw too small, okay? You should be drawing the claws almost as half the size of this piece of paper and then shrinking them down if you want them smaller. This person is drawing with a very, very fat brush for the size at which they're trying to draw. So this person has made the newbie mistake of drawing too small. The other thing you'll start to see, so although I don't think it's a large flaw in here, but you'll start to see you will notice this, that the lines, I think these are like hairs. The lines of the hairs are so much thinner that they do start to make you think that they're from a different universe. They do start to make you think that like you would not normally see this attached to this structure in this way. So the hairs might have been done a little bit more effectively by increasing the diameter and sort of keeping the line consistency a little bit thicker. But that's kind of a aesthetic choice. I think overall this is a really successful one. And if you zoom out again, if you were to shrink these down, they look really good. Here's another one where I think you're seeing improvement here. I'm not sure which one of these the student drew first, but I want to show this one because this relates to the last one, where I would imagine this one was the first one that was attempted, and then it looks like the student got much better. Over here, the lobster claw is quite successful. It's quite successful, and then over here they're attempting sort of a different shading technique. So let me just give some pointers on the shading. The differential here between these grays is really jarring. It's really going from a dark to a real bright white, and you only have kind of about 3 shades of gray here. You want to increase your maximum to the maximum shades of gray so that it's a little bit smoother. It's just the shading is just a little bit too jarring here. But overall, again, a very successful attempt for a first challenge, and clearly did a great job on the lobster claw here. Oh, and the newbie mistake here is again exemplified in this, drawing way too small. These are just way too small. It's not occupying the entirety of the piece of paper. So I would encourage these students to focus on drawing large, thinking about the whole composition as a whole, as opposed to just drawing tiny little pieces sort of separated by vast white spaces of negative space. Okay, now let me show some of my favorites. this student was just incredibly has an incredibly unique style. I really like these claws. They're so smooth, and it's in a style that I've like never seen before. So it's always fascinating to me to see how different students approach the same problems and how they sort of independently tackle things completely differently. And this one was very very successful. I really love this claw. Here's another one, extremely successful and extremely unique style. To me, this looks like a just so realistic, a photorealistic claw that you would find in like an ice box at the supermarket. I really like this crawdad claw. Great work here. So look at this one. This one is clearly has this person has a clear photorealistic style, very very successful. Um, but there's a newbie mistake that was made here. There's a newbie mistake that was made, and it's the newbie mistake of importing things from other universes. So I know what they were trying to do. I know what the student was trying to do here by putting this sort of textile surface underneath, but I really think it detracts from the actual beautiful images that were made because it just doesn't fit. And so when I did this in the class as the demo with mine, let me quick pull that. When I did this in the class and I had imported this concrete sort of background, you'll notice that when I did that, I made the layer almost entirely see-through. And that was because at full opacity, it was completely detracting from my drawings. It looked like it was from a different universe. But when I decreased the opacity of sort of that background layer, then I got it to the point where I felt like it was contributing rather than detracting. So in this student's, I wanted to try to shut off that layer, but the student had fused the background to the images of the class, so I was not able to shut off that background layer. But overall, a great unique style here, great image of the claws. But I just wish I could shut this background off. So be careful not to import elements from different universes, and if you do, you really have to be extremely careful about that because it makes things feel out of place. Now, this one I have to point out, this is my favorite lobster claw of all of them. For some reason, something about this lobster claw, it has more personality. This one has more sort of like personality than any of the other lobster claws. I'm not sure if I can articulate what it is, but it feels alive and it feels like it has its own personality. So this is my favorite lobster claw of all the students. So for this one, I feel kind of the same issue. The issue with the paper in the background. I'm not sure it's adding anything in this context. To me, it's sort of detracting. And a couple comments. This one, this person was afraid of the pure dark blacks. Even here, where it's supposed to be like pure black, there isn't actually like a pure black. So I think this one just it feels too flat. There's not enough different shades of gray, and also there hasn't been any attempt to put in some pure hard blacks anywhere. Same thing with the lobster claw. It's a great lobster claw. The articulations are very good, but the shading is less successful in a sense that it's not maximizing the contrasts and it's not sort of making things pop as much as they could. Although it's a really great first start in the class. The other thing I would say about the sloth claw is the sloth claw, the where the claws are, there would be some kind of like a articulation here, some kind of like a paw, some region where the claw is like attached to the hand, and so that part wasn't properly captured. I don't feel like, and so it feels like these claws are kind of like floating on top, almost like toothpicks on top of the image of this like round bulbous hairy thing. so so I feel like this one could be improved if they were to just articulate where the claws are meeting the paw, and then also could be improved by adding some real dark black shading parts. But overall, very successful first image. Everybody has had sort of an amazing first start. Everybody's going to become so much better by the end of the class.